Hello everyone, this is Mitalee Agrawal, Public Relation at IIT Hyderabad and your host and those for IITH Hum. Thanks a lot for your appreciation on YouTube with we touching 2000 viewership for our 8th episode of obviously our season 1 hashtag Alumni Diary. And today we are again breaking the monotony with our episode 9 with hashtag break the ceiling. Why we are breaking the ceiling? We'll come to know with the very special guest of today, Dr. Mahendra Kumar Pal, who is the first batch MTech graduate in year 2012 from Department of Civil Engineering from IIT Hyderabad, and currently he is working as assistant professor at IIT BHU in the Department of Civil Engineering. Without taking much time of yours, now I invite Dr. Mahendra Pal, my dear friend Mahendra, to let us know why he is focusing on breaking the ceiling. Please welcome Mahendra.
Thank you, Mitalee. Thank you so much for having me here. Our connection actually starts, it has a history to start, to go about it, but thank you so much for having me and giving me this
Actually, I just want to bring this here since you made a thanks actually for all our viewership. Actually, Mahendra is actually our season 1, actually episode 0, because Mahendra is the one who got featured in the alumni column of Kirit, where we run the actually alumni diary. And though we started calling it alumni diary from the issue 3 onwards, but Mahendra was kind enough to write all the way from Japan for the alumni column, which we used to call that time Ask Your Alumni. So thanks a lot, Mahendra, for entrusting that endeavor, which was just for the issue 1 of us, and making us today to form a more like seasons like Amazons and other thing. So thanks a lot for entrusting and giving us opportunity to make it a kind of flagship initiative of PR office. So thanks a lot for that, and let us know more about you.
Yeah, definitely. So again, thank you so much. As your husband already mentioned, I'm currently working as assistant professor at IIT BHU in the Department of Civil Engineering, as well as I'm also allied to the Department of Architecture and Planning. As well, I'm the allied faculty there. I teach the structural engineering and RCC design to them. My area of specialization is related to earthquake engineering, computational solid mechanics, and going in and trying to revive another dimension of a disaster mitigation and planning, and want to go into the urban planning in that kind of a work, and that's where I'm going into. Before coming or joining here, I was in Japan for almost nine and a half years. Out of that 9.5 years, I worked for 6.5 years, and before that, I pursued my PhD at University of Tokyo, which obviously I got the offer after completing my MTech at IIT Hyderabad and being as people wants to call it, the very first batch of IIT Hyderabad. But me and our batchmate, we prefer to call it like experiment batch. As IIT Hyderabad has done a lot of experiment, good or bad, we can debate about it. But in my personal view, it was a very good experiment, which has resulted or yielded into a positive outcome. And that's where I want to call it break the ceiling. This particular interaction or the video, because we selected the IIT Hyderabad when hardly anybody was very much interested, and the IIT Hyderabad had just came into the picture. And me being in the North India and all of a sudden trying to go to the South India. Well, Hyderabad is not a South India. We should not go into that debate. However, for North Indian, it's a South India. So when we started going we are trying to move into the South Indian side from the North India, coming from UP, Lucknow and all. Hyderabad is a very southern part, and thus we are moving into that direction. Not to that. In addition to that, I'm moving from north to south. I'm moving to the new place, which nobody really talks about, and either it would be good or bad, and everybody is like kind of doubtful about it. To be very frank about it. So, but we did, me and all my batchmates, we had decided that okay, let's see and go there and let's explore it and give it a chance. It might be that we are going against the wind. There could be a possibility, but nevertheless, we choose to go to IIT Hyderabad, and then the kind of a nurture and the environment as well as the motivation, the inspiration. IIT Hyderabad, its faculty and the directors, Professor UB Desai being the founding director, way he has treated his students as well as faculties is a commendable job. Very honestly, now I've done the journey being from the student to the researcher in the one national laboratory to the faculty. Now I can really see and sense that whatever the work Professor Yugadesh I was doing is commendable. And I'm very, when I'm interacting with the Professor Murthy sir is also, and he's just continuing the legacy like anything. And I'm pretty much sure that it will go to the new heights in a some time. Very recently, I remember that there's one lady who is a vice chancellor to us of one Jawaharlal Nehru University of Architecture in Hyderabad. She was visiting the architecture department as a committee of a council of architect, and she was mentioning about a Hyderabad campus. And I asked her, "Have you visited the campus?" And she said, "No, I, as an architect, I have heard a lot about the campus." I was like, "Whatever you are talking, I am very glad to know, but please visit the campus and then you will have a different impact what you're talking." So it's just a journey. That's why, the way the campus is being developed, the campus is also breaking the ceiling of a traditional construction, which is the way the traditional construction practices which are being practiced in India, but IIT Hyderabad is going in modern architecture and everything. It's unbelievable to imagine actually. I really want to use that word unbelievable to imagine, but yes. So
Well,
that's
that is really amazing. I don't want to take the name of a very actually high network individual visited IT Hyderabad. Instead, all your buildings looks like something different. You should have a traditional building. How a government educational institute look like. So then Professor Muthi happened to say, see, we put a lot of effort to make every building unique. And that way, actually, I want to bring two elements over here. Obviously, as a proud alumni of civil department, your building is one of the most talked about building. With it truly reflect the architectural marvel it has. That half of the building is standing on a concrete column and half is on a steel column. I don't know if I'm rightly describing it. And also, actually, that is not the actually uniqueness of civil department. Actually, it is the people like you who laid the foundation. When there was no campus where I'm sitting, you have entrusted IIT Hyderabad to come and bring the IITH name not only in Hyderabad or India. You took it to the Japan. To the extent I was sharing, and it is a known fact that in Japan there are only two IITs for the people. One is a Bombay, one is a Hyderabad. And recently there is soon you will hear one good news that it is going to. It has so many things, including the partnership the India have with the JICA forum. It is one of the uniqueness none of the IIT or per se any academic institute or organization have with Japan. So it is all thanks to people like you who went there, being a great ambassador of India, IITH, and Indian culture. So thanks a lot for that.
No, major thanks actually goes to the leadership of IIT Hyderabad for having a trust on the students who are going to Japan, and believing that whatever they are doing good for the institute as well as for the industry. If you are doing good for institute, eventually it turns out to be good for the country. There is no doubt about it. That's one thing is for sure. And then IIT Hyderabad has taught us that to be together and help each other. So in 2020, when we were going through the COVID, and then the new student from IIT Hyderabad were supposed to come to Japan to start their journey as a JICA scholars and they start their PhD. So we were preparing the welcome booklet for them to come in. And in that booklet, we had brainstormed that what topic or what title we should give it. And we choose to go with Together We Grow. So, and also we translated in Japanese as well. The idea was ki, you come there, we will help you out. Don't worry about that. And together, it's not like the one individually can grow up and will do the amazing works and all. No? In a team always performs better than the individual. So that's the idea.
There's a very famous saying, the single stick can be broken, but the bunch of sticks, the team never fails
Yes.
actually. So,
Yes.
because something or other learning you will have, like if you go to the sports and
Yes.
all. So, now if I briefly ask you, because we have discussed in detail that what made you to come to IIT Hyderabad. So, if you briefly can share for the people that what is the interesting story behind you coming to IITH, which you have written in the first column.
Okay, which I had written to that. So,
You can refine the version.
yes, yes, yes. So basically, when I was completing my, I had completed my BTech, and after completing the BTech, I was in a doubtful that either I should go for the job which I already have in my hand, or I should start pursuing my MTech to learn a little bit more about it. In that doubt, when you are such young, you are very confused. In that confusion, I went to IIT Bombay as well as to IIT Hyderabad, sorry, IIT Roorkee for that at that time. Uh, I mean, I went to IIT Bombay and IIT Roorkee and some other IITs as well. But at these two IITs, whenever I appeared for an interview, all of out, I don't know from where those professors, what they felt about me or what they found in my profile. I'm really clueless about that. But coincidentally, at the both the places, they suggested me that instead of getting the specialization what I'm getting either in IIT Bombay or in IIT Roorkee, I should go for the new specialization which is being established in IIT Hyderabad. I don't know. They might have seen something in my interview, or I'm very honestly, I don't recall what they might have found it, but they suggested. So since like you get a signal from one place, then the same signal is
All
repeated.
mighty
Then
voice.
so it's like God is calling you. So you
Yeah.
should go to Hyderabad, and then after finishing all both these two things, eventually I got the offer from IIT Hyderabad. So I decided, okay, let's head to the south and see what Hyderabad is waiting for me at Hyderabad. So that was the intention, and that's why I came into that, and that's what I had referred in my interview, in my written interview, that IIT Roorkee and IIT Bombay actually inspired me to come to IIT Hyderabad.
Well, that is a very commendable thing, actually. As we say, the sportsmanship, the educational competition should always be free from a bias. They should always think good of the what they are, and even especially even those who are not excellent IIT student, but you can direct them to do the best. And I think so. It is the best for both IITH, and I hope for you also that you are now IITH flag bearer. And now I ask one very particular question to everyone. It is just like some like any technocrat talk, that what is your favorite subjects, and maybe something if you dislike by any chance.
So, as if you look my profile, it's a lot of mathematics and mechanics into the work. So, like without any doubt, mathematics and mechanics is my favorite subject. Although I got a very low grade in mechanics in IIT Hyderabad. And that also happened because the sir who was the instructor who was teaching it, he thought that I had copied assignment from somebody. But actually it was the other way around, that people had copied it from me. So even those students got minus B and I got the minus B. So it's but yeah, mechanics and all. And yeah, if you really talk about something what I hate, it's the
Not
chemistry.
really required to answer. I don't want to get into
It's
it.
like I don't hate it, but the chemistry I'm not like, somehow the chemistry and I'm not a natural fit. I don't know why.
Incidentally, some episode I found some or other connection, and obviously I take a lot of motivation from all of you because you're doing a great job in your life and you did in the past. And I also love mathematics actually that way, just to share.
Yes, yes.
So now coming to the another point, other than we had talked about all about academics. So any other non-academic activity which is there in your head and heart at IIT Hyderabad?
At IIT Hyderabad, Japan Desk is our dream project. Very honestly, it's a dream project which we are very striving for. Our good friend Saichan Teja is consulting the JICA Desk team and everything, and I'm helping them out with at non-official positions and the idea is very simple, that India and Japan being culturally same and kind of sharing the same heritage, not exactly like, I will be wrong by saying that we are sharing the same culture and everything, but in a deep inside we are like kind of the same. So we are a good, we complement each other in so many aspects. So it is going to be a very good fit for India and Japan to come together and prosper. And that is where, and I personally want IIT Hyderabad as well as my institute IIT PHU to be the nodal center for those two places. For Japan to come here, and PHU or Varanasi being the cultural capital of India, and Kyoto in Japan being the cultural capital of city. And now both of those cities are also the sister cities as in our political scenarios. So I really want that Japanese people start more, not only they start coming to the cultural, also they start coming into technological and non-technological in both the streams, and we as it together we make a bigger team and we start working for the good for the country, for both the countries, for the world, and that's the idea actually.
So, any academic and non-academic mentorship you got at IIT Hyderabad, or you had a stay at IIT Hyderabad in the ODF campus, had made you do something better, which you're doing now?
I since we were in the first batch, the laboratories and all those things were not established at that point of time. All the instruments were in the pipeline, like they are coming. So we came, and then when we entered into the Hyderabad campus, there were some instruments which are lying, and then there were some student instruments which were in the pipeline to about to come in. And we were the first kind of assignments what we had got were we have to establish a lab and everything. And idea was ki, then we, like as Indian we have that intrigue thing, the jugaad technology. So we started utilizing our jugaad things and here to establish his own lab. So what actually IIT Hyderabad has literally taught me to how to start from the scratch and how not to lose the patience or the confidence in yourself that even your first experiment is failing, you take a step back and then rebuild it from there. That even helps me even today here, like when I'm teaching or when I'm conducting experiments, or when I'm trying to establish my own research areas and trying to expand the 110-year-old laboratories to the state of art kind of a thing, then actually those learnings are helping me a lot and giving me the confidence that yes, I can do. Yeah, there is always in back in the head, I am always conscious that I might fail, but I'm not scared of that. So that is something what IIT Hyderabad has given in that experiment, and that's why I say that whatever the experiment IIT Hyderabad has done with us is a positive outcome.
Any mentor you recollect at this moment from IIT Hyderabad?
The mentors, all the faculties, to be very honest, all the faculties in civil engineering department as well as the other, and especially whom were there is when we were there. And if I have to name, then I will name like the four professors in civil engineering department: Professor KVLS, Professor B. Umashankar, Professor S. Sirish Sarade, and my own supervisor, Professor S. A. Rajagopal, with whom I'm still working. I'm currently working with the Professor I. Rajagopal in modeling brick masonries and earthquake. So we are basically working into the seismic resistance analysis of the existing buildings and in India, and then from there we'll move to the earthquake resistant design in India. So we are having currently we are running two projects, one with IIT Hyderabad, IIT BHU, and University of Tokyo, and the other project we are working with my previous institute in Japan, that is NIIT and IIT Hyderabad. In that project, I represent my institute in Japan, that's NIIT. Unofficially, but yes, like that.
So, since we talked about earthquake and then we discussed, let's bring your expertise on board. Though India has not greatly suffered with the earthquake problem, what the Turkey has faced very recently, but the Joshimat is one of the problem of similar reason. So, do you, as expert, briefly, you can talk about some possible solution as a people we should look, because every time we go to our politician to ask for a solution, but I think a lot of solution lie within ourselves. So let's talk about what we can do, if you can give any suggestion to the public.
Since you have already said that, you have said that earthquake is not our Indian problem. I want to correct you there that earthquake is everybody's problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's everybody's problem. Yes, it is true that we don't have a major history of earthquake disasters as the world has it. If we look into from that point of view, then we have a very limited history of it. However, in India, understanding or the awareness against earthquake has increased like exponentially after 2001 Bhuj earthquake. Like the earthquake which came at when our current prime minister was the chief minister of Gujarat at that time. So he has a great learning, and even his the first speech in the agenda number 10, he talks about the importance of a disaster resilience infrastructure in India. So I think at least the top leadership in India actually understand these things. But when it comes to the like Josimat and those things, actually what has happened, there is unplanned construction which has taken place. And we have not realized what is there underneath in the geo. So geological investigation as well as the geotechnical investigation, which has not been carried out by like, because those investigations are super costly for a normal people to do. So the people who are making the construction and those things, they go without any scientific understanding and the knowledge of that, and they have done the construction. As well as they are going in the direction of a very heavy construction. When I'm saying the heavy construction, I'm talking about the weight of these structures. So if due to that self weights of their own structure, those structures start, if there is the initiation of a certain crack, then due to the self weight, those cracks will initiate more and more, and then they will become deeper. And that has become a secondary region of a major cracks in the Josimat area. And the first primary region of the structures failure in that is whatever the settlement taking place under the in underground and all. So those geotechnical investigations are very important, and as a government level, like people should do or perform this because those are very costly, and the normal people actually cannot afford it and they cannot do it. I think the people who are like working in in a geological research and all, they are obviously doing those kind of thing, and hopefully they will come up with some good kind of a mapping, and also with advanced technologies of a surveying, geological surveys and all, definitely we'll have a good maps and everything, hazard maps and all will be there. But it is very unfortunate that we always wait for a disaster to get awakened for those kind of things. That's very unfortunate part, but yeah.
Yeah, my objective was asking you as a recall actually because I personally feel like even Hyderabad is full of skyscraper. We live in one of them. So I feel so that there was a days we used to only build house with the mud and maybe one story house. Like I recall my grandparents' house, but now we make a buildings as tall as 100 story and all. So I feel so it will create some major impact on the Mother Earth. So I thought through you I can put this message to our viewer, whoever see translate this message to the public that if we are like for example now India we are talking about the seat belts and certain traffic rules, certain
Yeah.
rules and regulations can come in picture that as you're saying that this analysis are quite costly, so they can become a part of certain like there are certain minimum permissions are required for constructions and all. So this kind of a survey can be part of it. Instead of we spending and affecting our economy with this disaster, we can do some preventive measures, maybe taking your.
Yeah, so there are already certain building laws and Indian standards there for earthquake resistance, for others high-rise buildings, for normal structures, normal concreting what we have done. So we have a number of guidelines and the bylaws already existing into there. However, what is those are either those are very conservative, that's one thing, or whatever the analysis they are talking about, it's very expensive to perform. That's the onus is on us, like the people who are in the positions as well as like those who are working on those specialization to come up with, and especially when we are a mathematically very advanced country, we should come up with the cheapest, no, not the computationally less costly or computationally
Economic and effective search.
economically saying economically is
Effective.
not a correct word, yeah, but the effective ways to do the calculation and all that those becomes affordable for the normal citizen, the residents. If we can somehow we can come up with those kind of tools, then it will be a great thing or a great direction to go ahead with.
Definitely, I think so. We'll take this message forward, and people like you are already there who are, I'm sure, working towards that. So now let's break the ceiling of your memory and recall your best moment at IIT Hyderabad. And I know this is very special, which you wrote. I don't know if you still recollect that, what you wrote.
I had about the best memory. There is n number of events, like, and the memories what we all have. We have, there's a series when we talk about the memories of IIT Hyderabad. We have a series of memories, either be it the night outs what we used to have it, or 2011 World Cup winning moment what we celebrated inside the campus, or be it could be the one night preparation before the midterms, or like and the exams in semester or the mid semester or any of those things, or playing the sports and everything. So in the last episode, actually, you had talked about, you were talking with us, Sai Chanteja. So want to not, it's a series of memories, but he talks about the playing the crickets and all things. So I'm the 12th man in the cricket team for MTech. So whenever somebody is injured, I will go and play. But although being the 12th man, I am just the fielder. I will go and do the fielding. That's what is my job had been. But I have a record of being not out. I'm not a player. I'm not a player. I'm not a player. My point always has been me. There is another person. There's a Sahid who was in a civil engineering department, and Teja. We all three don't know how to play cricket, but we have the most non-out record, not out records, because we will just go. We'll like allow the ball to hit our body, not the wicket. So we'll frustrate the another team just for 2 hours, 3 hours, like this thing. Not
So
like just
winning the
standing
game by
there.
frustration then. So breaking the
Yeah.
team, so everywhere breaking law you are applying.
We
So
break the momentum of the another team, just irritating the bowler, not doing anything,
so
just standing there. He and will not run it. Yes.
breaking is
Yes.
your success strategy. I think so. Let me refresh because I was reading your interview of 2019, just to understand like what obviously when you the format changes, the memories changes, the
Yes.
incidences and moments changes. I think so. Let me bring to the board the your academic excellence award which you have
Well,
mentioned at
I
that time.
was
Maybe you can
I
elaborate that further.
I have been trying to avoid to talk about academic excellence award or the medal we got it from there, but that is actually coming from the idea that when I had chosen to go to IIT Hyderabad, since I had, as I've already mentioned it initially, that idea to go to IIT Hyderabad is not a usual trend or the tradition, like choosing like all, despite the fact that I'm getting in at a good IIT, I mean, so-called good IITs, and despite of that, I'm going to IIT Hyderabad, and then I have to prove my point that why I have chosen and whatever I'm doing at IIT Hyderabad is good. To just to prove that, very honestly, to just to prove that I worked little hard and to achieve the academic excellence award and consequently the medal which with I graduated with. And eventually all these things has materialized, and then I went to University of Tokyo, and now I'm being faculty at another IIT.
I
This
just
is
forgot. It has not come out. The medal to Dr. Mahendra was given by our very own missile man of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So I thought his name is missed. So that's the reason it was, I think, so Mahendra mentioned as a special moment. So we'll come to the another special moment, Mahendra, when last year all this work which obviously you and Teja was doing together in Japan for bringing the growing together in Japan for the Alumni Connect you were awarded last year. So what is your take on that?
that is I have already mentioned that I am very thankful to the leadership of IIT Hyderabad for having a trust and appreciating the work we have been doing as the student and as the alumni of IIT Hyderabad. Either we have been in Japan, or now when I have come back to India, and now we're trying to, trying to be equal, and trying to establish that way, and want to collaborate more and want to work in the research as well as other areas. But particularly when we were in Japan, and we were seen as the ambassador of India to Japan, and then whatever the way we are perceiving ourselves or conducting ourselves, the image of India as well as the image of IIT Hyderabad will be made accordingly, because we are the first batch. JICA was even experimenting with us that either giving the scholarship to the IIT Hyderabad the students, either it will work or not, or there is the possibility that the student will take and go away and go to the US or European countries. They will not come to Japan, or we are going to get a poor quality of student who is coming to Japan. So everybody has the speculations about the IIT Hyderabad in India. I mean, let's not talk about that though. So when we went into IIT, I mean, in Japan, we started feeling those things like, okay, oh, these things are happening. So we thought, okay, we have to be at our best behavior, and then we have been just being at our best behavior. And we am very glad that IIT Hyderabad actually acknowledged that, that whatever you have done actually is a contributing, and that's one thing. And then the second sense always we have in our Indian like society, we have that as a elder, you always have to help out your youngers. That's always, there is a sense of responsibility. So as being the first batch of student or the first kid of IIT Hyderabad, it has always been the responsibility in our soul. Not major responsibility, like nobody is pushing us in and you have to do it, but kind of a moral responsibility that, okay, let's give back something to IIT Hyderabad, because IIT Hyderabad has actually given a lot to us. So in order to give back to something to IIT Hyderabad, we have been helping or trying to create the better environment. And actually, eventually, that has created a good environment for IIT Hyderabad student in Japan, as well as for us. That now, if somebody is saying to me that he or she wants to travel to Japan and they are facing any trouble, then I know that just I have to text one guy in Japan, okay, this person is coming, please help. I don't need to worry about anything. Okay, where that person will go, what he will do. Like, no, there is a community which is well established. This guy will go, they will host him, they will receive him, host him, and do whatever that, and extend the support whatever here that person is looking. So that is in a very sense, in the night sense. And then of course we created the community, the IIT Hyderabad, the Alumni Association. Now the IIT Hyderabad Japan chapter is also flourishing with other people. So it's great to see, and the presence of IIT Hyderabad in Japan is just remarkable. And by the way, you have mentioned about in Roorkee, I mean in Japan, two IITs being IIT Bombay and IIT Hyderabad. Let me give you the number. And then in 2019, when our current directors have visited Japan for the first time, 2 months earlier to that, that then director of IIT Bombay had visited Japan and interacted, and they had the alumni get together. They had around 91 or 92 gathering, and we had 120 plus gathering. So I really don't want to claim that we have become bigger than IIT Bombay in that sense, but yeah,
No, that
be the
is
judge.
no
Be
doubt
the
on
judge.
that. As I talked about that, obviously IIT Hyderabad is known as the symbolic strength of India and Japan collaboration. I don't want to
Yes,
bring the
yes.
IITs that way. So now comes towards the end. So what is the message you have for the current folk of IITH? Be it your earlier mentor or the student, or you want to give a separate message for them, or as a whole
My
for anyone, and break the
my message
ceiling.
is, yeah, my message is that break the ceiling, come out of your comfort zone. The moment you will go out of your comfort zone, you will realize what power you have it. Or like in Hindi, like I come from the Hindi island, like Hindi speaking land of the India, and also being in Varanasi, I'll refer to ki there was a Hanumanji was there. Hanumanji had a lot of a power, but he don't recall it ki he has that power. So somebody has to tell him. So in the same way, that challenge yourself and break the ceiling, and you will reach the height you actually want to achieve. Like the Sachin Tendulkar says, chase the dream, dreams comes true. So please chase it, and you will do only when you are coming out of your comfort zone. So break that ceiling of the comfort zone and come out. You will reach where you wanted to reach.
So thanks a lot, Mahendra, for breaking lot of the already set mindset and talking about how challenges are important for our sustainable growth, be it in your field of construction or civil or a personal life. If you want to be a better person, as you said, to regard to Lord Hanumana. Okay, I also know, come from a Hindi land. My mother tongue is Hindi very much, but I prefer to say that way. So obviously, and it is known that it is also a scientific thing. What we say, that how is journey
Yes.
from land to sun, that is also all scientific. So there is a science behind everything.
Yes.
There's
Exactly.
always a logic behind everything. So let's work toward that. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's bring some logic to the life, and
Yes.
love to the life, and life to the life. So thanks a lot for
Yes.
connecting today, taking out time to talk to us and sharing wonderful experience of yours. And maybe I'm sure it will motivate many other to break their ceilings.
Definitely. I hope it does.
So obviously you are well connected to IITH. I need not to say this message, but as always, stay connected and sayonara.
Yeah. Sayonara.
Thank you.
Hi.
Arigato.
Thank you so much. Sayonara. Namaskare.